I'm Nina Lenton. Welcome to Creative Conversations, where I ask my guests, what does the word creativity mean to you? I'm here with Kelly Drewett of KD Web. Kelly is an expert in search engine optimization and other things as well, which she will tell us about. So I'll just hand over to Kelly for a quick introduction before we dive into our topic of creativity.
Brilliant. Thank you, Nina. Really nice to be here. Great to see you. I also do websites. Actually, I must change my language. We also do websites as a growing business. So it's search engine optimization, as you say, optimizing websites for the internet and designing websites as well. So that obviously sort of like leans on that creative side, that creative part of the conversation. I've been in business for 26 years, so a really, really long time, but I was very much a freelancer during probably the first 20 years of that time. So I feel like I've only just started becoming a proper business owner. And like I say, changing my language because I am now we. We've got a team of 3, which is so fantastic. So starting to build the business a lot more, very excited. I went travelling quite in my 30s and I ended up living in France. So that's where I operate from. But the business is UK based because we are very much UK operational. So we are designing websites and doing SEO for lots of different people in sort of entertainment and tech now.
Yeah. Excellent. So now, I will just start off with the creative bit by saying that. So I know you because you run something called Create Connect every month, which a graphic designer friend of mine told me about a couple of years ago, and I started coming along to it. So do you want to just explain to the people who are listening something about what Create Connect is all about? Yeah,
Create Connect is a sort of a round table for creative business owners, and I don't sort of limit it to the fact that you have to be in an industry that is creative. For example, there could be a coach or something like that, but that person is creative or wants to be creative in the running of their business. So we network and we chat about a topic every month, and we come together on the second Thursday each month at 10 a.m. UK time, and it is a lot of fun. We have lots of ideas, don't we, Nina? And
we do, and some of them go off on weird tangents.
We share a lot about, what we're coping with, and we try to stick to those really, really important topics. Like, for example, we did marketing plans last month, and it was just really interesting to find out what other people are doing, what tools they're using, and how they're coping, really. So sharing that kind of thing. Yeah. And at the same time, we do a creative or an artistic project. So it could be anything from doing a puzzle to, painting and drawing and that kind of thing. So, yeah, it's a bit of a networking with a twist.
Yes, and I think that's what I like about it. The fact that everyone who comes along is either that you get a great mixture between people who are in business and happen to like doing something creative, and people who their business is also creative. I always credit Create Connect with keeping me going with my penguin doodling. Because it's actually, for me, I write notes in the form of penguins. So I quite,
I think that's
sort of, and when I don't come to it, I think, yes, I'd often go and draw them anyway, but it's a great time to just spend an hour doing that, and I've got prompts because people are talking about topics. So
it's such a great way of being creative during a session like that and taking notes. I just think it's a really good way because, you've got them in a visual format then, haven't you? And you've also done something hand-eye coordination, which does help for our mental well-being, which is the reason that I started the sessions. So,
yeah. So, what's your favourite topic from those been so far? Is there one that stands out?
It's always the AI one. always artificial intelligence. We've done it twice now. Yeah, because it is such a talked about topic now. It's one that people have feared. And we did an AI session about a year ago, and the conversation was very full of fear. People were really worried about it. And we did it a year later, and suddenly everyone had adopted AI. They were quite confident with it. There were still those, little worries about what the future holds and things. But I love the conversation about AI. Just, it gets me going. So.
It's really interesting, and it is an interesting topic in creativity, definitely at the moment, because you hear a lot of people talking about it. I sadly I was at the one a year ago, but I missed the recent one, so I didn't get to hear that. But so in terms of creativity, would you have said that you were creative?
As a child, I was really creative. I loved picking up pens, paper. I would stick and draw and fix and sew and all sorts of things. So I was a very, very creative child. Yeah. And then I definitely lost it as a teenager because I guess you're studying, you're going out with your friends, you're being a teenager, and I completely lost it. So I wanted to pick it back up again. And that was around the same time as I started Create Connect. My belief is that everybody is creative. Everybody can be creative. My husband often says to me, I'm not creative, I can't do that. And I believe it's because he hasn't practiced, he hasn't put his heart into one thing. Yeah.
Or maybe he hasn't found his thing.
Maybe he hasn't found his thing. He's a coder, and actually, in a way, his creativity is his coding, and that sounds like it's not a creative thing, but for him it really, really is. It's his outlet. So I believe everyone is creative.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you clearly, because I've got a podcast all about creative conversations, and I talk about creativity quite a lot. I also say that you've got things like gardening, cooking, problem solving. Yeah. All of that's creative as well. So.
Like gardening, part of gardening is landscaping, isn't it? You're putting things together, putting them in, if you haven't got, the space, then you're still putting them in pots and you're putting colours together. It is creative, and it is, I've just said coding is creative, but I do believe you should be off the computer in a way when you're really, really doing the wellbeing kind of creativity that we all love.
Yeah. Well, I think that's also the difference, isn't it? Because you've kind of got the business creativity side of things, which, as you say, could be the coding, or it could be the problem solving, or the writing, or the, typing on a computer kind of writing. But actually it is nice to do the hands-on drawing, doodling, scribbling, painting. There's a membership group that I'm part of, and I've started doing a creative co-working thing with them, which it's different from the networking that we do, but it's literally just we all turn up for an hour and we say what we're going to work on, and we go away for 45 minutes and we do something creative, and then we come back and talk about what we've done. Someone on one of the sessions wrote a song which he was going to go and perform somewhere, and someone else went out and sorted out her garden for 40 minutes and came back having decided what she was going to plant where, which colours were going to go with what. So it's all about it, like you say, it's about that side of creativity is all about mental well-being, isn't it?
And I think your audience we're all creative, we're entrepreneurs, we're business owners, and you have to have that certain amount of creativity in your business to keep the client journey fun and interesting, and on top of that kind of thing. And like you say, that creative writing, we all have to do that for social media or blog posts, things like that. I wanted to ask, actually, do you do journaling, Nina? Do you
I've gone through phases of it, I must say. I haven't done any recently. I don't know whether I've just not had time or just not felt quite so inspired by it. I actually just had a big clear out of a load of notebooks that I had kind of going back for a couple of years where I had been very into my journaling. I did a course a few years ago where we were encouraged to use stickers and things like that and be a lot more colourful. So not just because I think there's different sides of journaling, aren't there? There's the literally just writing stuff down, and then there's also doing something a bit more creative with it. So where people talk about bullet journals, or this particular course that I did, it was really just about making your notebook your own and using the washi tape and using stickers and all sorts of things. So I think I've moved away a bit from the stickers and that side of it. I think possibly just because I didn't have time and it didn't lend itself to what I was doing. But I do... My journaling at the moment tends to be more in a digital form. So I've been learning personal development stuff for years, and obviously having trained as a coach. So I am always sort of, if I have a funny reaction to something someone says to me, I sort of think, oh, what caused that? If it's a business thing where somebody's said, maybe they've said no to something that I wanted them to help me with, or a client has sort of done something and I sort of think, oh yeah, actually that makes me feel sad or whatever. So I do quite often write, but that kind of writing at the moment I'm tending to do digitally just because it's a bit more accessible.
Journal
but I have liked the kind of writing, put pen to paper and actually do it in a colourful way as well. That's quite nice when I've got time.
Yeah, I do love using different colours or little icons or drawings like your penguins is a good idea. One quite good tip for entrepreneurs that are maybe, I don't know, pushing themselves into more and more difficult things or having difficult conversations. I learned that you can write those difficult conversations down. So say you're going to have a difficult meeting in the morning, or one that you're just particularly worried about. You can write down all the different kind of ways that meeting might come out, what the other person might say and things like that. And actually it just gives you that confidence to go into that meeting, and you can use journaling in loads of different ways like that. So I love that.
Yeah, well, that's quite an interesting one actually, because that is something that quite often you can have that going around in your head, can't you, if you've got to have that conversation about something.
Constant, replay.
And actually being able to write it down then you can
wellbeing.
You can go into it a bit more armed with, probably they might say one of these few things, and actually I'm prepared for all of those things they might say.
They probably won't say any of the things that you've written down, in all honesty. But
yeah, that's also true. But it's a good practice to get into, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, what would you have said are your creative outlets then?
Ooh, so my favourite one at the moment, which I'm not doing enough of, but I try, this is what I would do if I have my creative power hour, which I often call it. It would be drawing and painting. So I love doing characters or kind of, I don't know, quite blocky retro things. I just did a wedding card for my friends, and it was an image of the south of France, and some wine glasses and then the sea in the background, but it was quite blocky, and that's the kind of thing I like doing. I'm not very realistic in my drawing or painting. Yeah, it's very much cartoony stuff. So, but I love it.
Yeah, but that's a creative thing, though, isn't it? It's something a bit different.
Yeah. And it's fun because obviously with cartoons you can just totally make things up. So lots of fun.
Well, hence why I have penguins going to dungaree shops with octopuses. I mean,
exactly.
It should be octopi, shouldn't it? But anyway,
octopi. I don't know actually the plural. I love doing lettering as well, actually, because it's so easy to kind of just sit down, grab one of those gorgeous pens. For those of you on video that you might see, get one of those lovely
a nice felt
pens.
Yeah.
sort of paintbrushy kind of style, and it's quite fun to do some lettering, and you can actually do little notes like that as well, which is a bit of fun.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, so you mentioned your creative power hour. Is that something that you actually block into your diary to do, or does it fall by the wayside?
It often falls by the wayside, I have to be honest. Yeah, if I've, as any entrepreneur will know, or parent like yourself, I'm not a parent, but I can imagine it's even more busy. As soon as you've had, I don't know, a week off, different, yeah. As soon as you've had a week off, or something's happened, you're sort of having to make up time again. So the power hours end up getting pushed back when I'm in that kind of zone. But otherwise, I will try and do a power hour every couple of days, and that will be something like learning a new recipe, gardening, or painting. So and then French. I'll practice my French in a power hour as well. So yeah. Trying, but it doesn't always work.
Yeah. Are you fluent in French?
No. At the end.
So we won't do this in French then. Not that I'm fluent in French either. So, I mean, that would be a very short conversation. In terms of the creativity, obviously you said that you were creative as a child, and that sort of got lost as a teenager, and then it's come back more recently when you made an effort to start the Create Connect sessions. Is there something creative in the website work that you do? What can you pull out of that that's creative?
Yeah, there completely is, and it's when I say I lost it as a teenager, I was learning how to do websites as a teenager. Right. So that's how long I've been doing them for. So I didn't lose that creativity. It's just sort of all the, I guess, energy has gone into designing websites. And there's colours and fonts and layouts and, people's logos and where they sit and things like that. So that is all creative. So perhaps I just say it wasn't my teenage years that took away my creativity. It was the fact that I was doing websites and I was forgetting to do it, to do my painting. Yeah.
To do your personal creativity versus your sort of work-related creativity.
Exactly. And then we went into the SEO side of stuff. There's obviously that whole writing side of that. And SEO, it does kind of quash creativity in writing. I understand that, but there's also kind of a thinking outside the box type thing that you need to do when you're thinking about optimizing for search engines. Right. So I love that side of SEO. Yeah. And then I got into your creative writing sessions, Nina.
Yes, which I haven't done for quite a while now, but
that's fun as well. So just thinking about something and then suddenly pulling a story from nowhere, lots of fun. So yeah, the whole writing thing helps creativity as well.
I mean, I always found that when I've been involved in quite busy contracts, so obviously as a freelancer, I've done project management and there's been quite a lot of writing in that's related to whatever project I'm working on in a marketing communications kind of sense. And I would sometimes find that if I had a really difficult document to write, or I had something and I had a slide deck and I just didn't know where I was going to get started with it because it was just all a bit sort of, it just wasn't formed in my brain how I was going to do it. I'd actually find that if I sat down and did even just 15 minutes of set a timer and do some creative writing, look out the window and write what was out the window, or I'm just looking at my other computer screen here where I've got a picture of the sea, even just look at something like that and or a word that prompts something and just write something for 15 minutes. And then actually my brain would sort of wake up and go, oh, actually, and then I'd tackle the task and go, and it felt a lot easier after having done a little bit of creative something. So that was quite an interesting observation.
Yeah, Jodie Newman from the Business Allotment actually sends out her newsletter and she does like a prompt every week. So you have kind of, I don't know, a banana. And then she says, how could you use this banana in so many ways? And it's a really good way of just resetting your mind. So
yes.
It just reminded me of sort of doing a website design, actually, Nina, when you were saying sort of walking away from it or doing something different. Because as I'm designing a website, I don't know if people think, oh, you know, because you've done it so many times, it should just sort of come. But every time we're doing a bespoke website, so it's around the logo, it's around different colours, etc. And so I will use it. It's almost like a painting where you do a little bit of it. I walk away. I have to come back to it. I move it again. That doesn't sit well with me. I walk away again. And so I am coming back and forth. It's like that, like a painting, like someone would be coming in and out, revisiting a painting.
I think the creative process generally is like that, though, isn't it? Because I find that when I write things, I mean, and I see a lot of, there's a lot of copywriters write stuff on LinkedIn about their processes and various things, and I've noticed that they talk about that as well. It's not, when someone says write a short case study or write a social media post or a blog post, it's not just sitting there and going, right, type, there it is, it's done.
It's not
like quite that. Often it's, oh, right, okay, let's have a few thoughts about this. Okay, not feeling inspired. Right, go away and do something else. Right, okay, just a bit of research, a bit of an outline. Oh, okay, no, still not right. Okay, go away. And then it probably, I find that even if I'm writing something fairly simple, quite often I will write it and I might have to leave it for a day or so and then come back to it and just have a look at it and check that it kind of ticked all the boxes and feels like it flowed properly.
Yeah, that's why I think anyone in the creative industry, you can't really go, okay, I'm going to do the thing this day and get it out. It's very difficult to do that. You need to be able to have that creative time and that process for your mind to figure out if it's perfect. And that's what we do with the websites. So
yes, it is completely a process. It needs a lot of space in it. I think that's what I talk about, creative headspace.
That's nice. Yeah,
space to develop it. And so I talk quite a lot about creative expression and creative thinking. So obviously we've talked a bit here about creative expression and all the different things that people do to express themselves creatively. And one of the other aspects that I talk about with creativity is creative thinking and how different people approach creative problems and coming up with ideas. So obviously you work in a team now. Can you see that the three of you have different types when it comes to coming up with ideas or coming up with processes or ways to do things?
Yeah, so I think at the moment the team is quite led by what I'm doing because we use a project management tool called ClickUp.
Right.
And I'm probably quashing their creativity just a little bit. Stevie's been with us for 3 months, and that's not to say I want to quash their creativity. I'm coming around to it. But because we needed to get ClickUp kind of to the point that all of us understood it really, really well. And so that is a time saver for us because when someone needs to do a task, it goes in, etc., etc. And so at the moment, I think we're all approaching the tasks in quite a similar way. But what I'm trying to do is encourage, and I want to do is encourage a team to have their own creative outlets, their own creative time. And Debs, who is our first employee, does get that chance. She is in media, and so she's doing videos and graphics and things like that. So she gets a little bit of a creative, outlet, creative time within the business to do that. And yes, I think her and I do approach things differently. But don't we all? It's. I
think that's part of it, isn't it? That some, it's, and I think that everyone approaches it differently, and that there's no one combination either. Because I remember having an online chat a while ago with a whole load of different people, because I said, oh, well, I have lots of ideas, but I'm also one of these weird logical people who likes planning. And I was thinking, am I the only person who's like that? Because I work very well with crazy creatives who have loads of ideas, but actually they don't like planning in detail. But I think there's room, but it's interesting. But I think all of that stuff is so interesting because there's room for all sorts of different variations. Because yes, on the one end, you do have the people who have millions of ideas and they really are very innovative and creative and crazy. And at the other end, you have got people who just like planning in detail and just want to stick to one thing and they just say they don't have ideas. They just kind of like, you know, routine. Whereas I'm just a bit of a weird hybrid. But I think we're all kind of a bit of everything, aren't we?
You have triggered something in my mind where I am the classic entrepreneur where I've got new ideas all the time. You know, they're coming constantly. I haven't been tested to see whether or not I am ADHD yet, but everyone swears I am because I'm constantly, you know, with the ideas. But I'm also a huge planner. So that's where I'm not quite convinced that, well, I know there's a spectrum anyway, but so I will plan and I will have the ideas, but I don't plan meticulously. And then Debs, who is our very first employee, she is definitely a kind of meticulous. She'll take the ideas and the plan and kind of like break it down and stop me and say, Kelly, this bit is a little bit, you know, this way or that way. And then Stevie's starting to get into that as well, where she's organising me. So, yeah.
So, but it shows why...
Calm down.
Yes, I mean, I could give a million examples of different people I've worked with, but I won't. But I do definitely relate to that, being the, yes, okay, that idea is great, but... How about we just
pull it back.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we just think about the fact that we've got all these things that you haven't thought about. So, but it shows. I mean, to me, that shows. Exactly. Take those ideas and say, right, calm down. We can still do them all, but just not all at once and not that quickly.
Strategy in this.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. So, but it shows to me why you need so many different people in a, you know, even if you work by yourself, you need to kind of find those different energies from other people. And if, like you're fortunate enough to have a team, you kind of make sure you identify what the gaps are. So if once you've got those three of you, you think, actually, do you know what? There's something that none of us does. We could do with a bit of. Then you find someone who's got a bit of
so many more.
Whatever that thing is.
So many more places and so many more personality types that I think need to come into the business. I know that, but I think just one thing that came up for me just then was you saying about fortunate enough to have a team. I actually don't know what I would do without the team now. I can't understand why I didn't do it before.
Yeah.
It is terrifying having to support another person, etc. But it's so much fun. It's supportive. It's creative. It's, they're keeping me constantly accountable. I just love it. And if anyone's on that kind of like tipping point, I can't recommend it enough. And yes, you might get the incorrect person sometimes, but I've been burnt, but it will come good as long as you have those skills of being able to lead properly and choose properly. Well worth it.
And being willing to experiment with figuring out who the best people are and what they can, because there's I guess there's probably not one ideal fit, because nobody's there's never going to be an exactly perfect person, but you can kind of maximize the sort of the synergies and the bits the bits that complement
to their
each other.
Strengths. Yeah, the roles have changed, and I think that is what a business owner should be, is someone that is flexible. So I've realised certain strengths of the team, and I'll play to those strengths. And yes, okay, that might leave a gap somewhere else, but that means it's another person. You can't push a round peg into a square hole, it doesn't work. And yes, there's an overall description of what these people need to do, based on the foundational level. But really, I want them to play to their strengths. So there's creativity in that, isn't there?
Well, it is. Yeah, it's creative use of resources, I suppose.
Yay.
Of people and what they can do, and it then frees up your brain to do the creative bits that are your favourite things.
Yeah, that's the ultimate, isn't it? Spending all day, all week doing the bits that you really, really like as a business owner. But there's always something. You're never going to get to do 100% of the 100% of your tasks being things that are your favourite things, because then maybe you wouldn't appreciate them so much if you did them all the time. I don't know. I was going to mention Trello as a tool as well, because I just think it's a really good idea just to have these tools in your toolbox. And as an entrepreneur who has many, many, many ideas, not so much, business development, but also social media posts and things like that. And I find Trello works fantastically because I've got the app on my phone, and then, I can look at it on the computer as well and sort it out. But that's where I idea dump. And then those ideas, when they form, they go over into ClickUp, and that's when they become the real tasks that we're actually working on and things like that. But I just thought that might be something good to mention for people to throw their ideas into. Creative ideas.
It's interesting you mentioned that, because actually, have you been looking on my Instagram today?
Oh no, have you got Trello on there?
No, yes, I actually did a post about Trello, so this will be completely out of date by the time anyone actually listens to this. But today, because at the time we're recording this, it's about to be the school summer holidays, so my brain is trying to prepare myself for that time when I know that I'm not actually going to be working that many days, but my brain's still going to be working. So I've got two things actually. So I'm going to ask you about the second one in a minute. So I've got all those ideas like you have. And so I've actually now been testing. I've set myself up a Trello board that I've called my ideas board. And I literally just have I've got an inbox. So I've got one bit where I'm going to put the ideas. And then I've thought through what happens next, because that's the bit that always stopped me from using Trello before. That I stuck a load of stuff in there and then went, well, what am I going to do with all that stuff now? And then it overwhelmed me.
Yeah.
But what I have done, I've kind of preempted my thought process. And what I've actually done is I've thought to myself, right, what kind of ideas am I going to come up with? Because it's not, for me, it's often not just ideas, it's sometimes little admin tasks as well. So it might be, I forgot to arrange that play date for my daughter, or I need to do this form or something. But they're all valid thoughts. They're just not necessarily creative things. So what I've done is I've gone through and I've done all my little columns where I've got types of ideas. So I've got, I know that this one might be a social media post, or it might be sometimes I'll come up with that's like a one-to-one offer. I can, maybe I'll do a little promotion on that, or that's a PDF I can create or something. And then there would be life admin tasks and business admin. So when I suddenly go, I actually need to pay myself and I need to remember to do that. Although actually this is more of an ideas board for the summer. So what I plan to do with it is that at the end of the summer, I will then go back to it, look at that big long list of things and then categorise them, so that then... Yes. But if it's an immediate task, then I will probably I'll have to find a way to do it. But yeah, and so far actually that's been working quite well, because it's given my brain somewhere to put the stuff. But
I was just looking at what I called mine, and it's the same as you. So I have a list called idea dump. Everything gets dumped on there, because I don't then, if I'm in a rush on my phone, I don't have to go and search for the list or something, because that's what takes the time sometimes. So I dump it on the list, on the idea dump, and then I categorise it when I've got time. And so it's and I think the key is making sure that you actually take the time to look through the stuff and decide what to do with it. Guilty of not doing that.
But yeah, the thing that occurred to me there that I was just going to ask you about while we're chatting, in case you've got any thoughts on it, was, so one of the things that I do is I quite often, I'll get inspired to write something. And I'm now, whereas at one point I used to just jump on LinkedIn or somewhere and just post the thing, I'm actually now trying to be a bit more strategic with what I'm doing on social media. So actually I found that yesterday and today I'm obviously in a creative mood because I've written 2 things, both of which they're pretty good. They're going to need a little bit of honing with a call to action, but they're both quite good. But I feel like I don't have a process to then kind of pull them into. They're not in Trello because they're too long. And so my challenge at the moment is figuring out how to handle those ones. Because if I think, I'm going to write a blog post about having too many ideas, that's easy because I just write having too many ideas as the idea and then I'll go and develop it. But if I actually have a fully formed post, I'm trying to work out how I can then form that into a process that then gets it out the end in the right place.
So what we do is we've got Google Workspace, which is just the docs and the sheets. You can use the free one. And then that marries up with ClickUp, which is the project management tool that we use. So in ClickUp will be the task, and that will be like the title and the date it's going out and things like that. But in ClickUp, you can link it over to the Google Doc. So on the Google Doc, I have a version for LinkedIn, slightly changed version for Instagram, because obviously it's a different audience and there might be different tags or something like that. Yeah. And our template has little emojis and all sorts of stuff on. So our process is for me to basically write the thing, because that's my ideas, and that's where Debs gets the graphics from and the graphic ideas and the photo ideas. Stevie checks it all and puts little emojis and links and makes sure she tags everybody. And then Stevie eventually is going to post it, but we're having a fight with Meta at the moment. So she'll eventually post it on all of our stuff. So that's our process. So we use ClickUp as a task and then Google Docs as the actual written content.
Yes. So it's just finding so it's finding my version of that. That's what exactly.
And ClickUp's great because it's like a diary. It's a scheduling. It's not a scheduling tool, but it will remind you when you've got to do these certain things, when you've got to write it, when you've got to check it, when you should schedule it, and things like that. Yeah. So ClickUp is great
to actually. Yeah. So and I mean, I think that's it, isn't it? You've got to have. Talking about Trello and ClickUp and all of that sort of thing, you've just got to have the right tools in place and that kind of that support your own ideas process, whatever those ideas are.
We finally found it. It did take a really long time because my brain just kept moving away from ClickUp and not checking stuff, and so these things are only decent. They only work if you use them constantly and you live by them.
Yeah. And remember that you set them up in the first place, which is sometimes my problem.
Exactly. Gotta live by them.
Yeah. So excellent.
I wanted to mention the little art school because they have an online art course which I am going to get after I get my next employee because it'll free more time up for me. But it's an online art course, so it's for drawing and painting. Yeah. But the money from those art courses will eventually go to children, the charities that they have got in existence, and children in poverty in the UK. Yeah. So I literally love the initiative. I love that they're doing what they're doing. They are 2 incredible women that have started this up. And I just thought I'd mention that because if people are listening to a creative podcast, then it's a fantastic course anyway. Can't wait to get involved in the course. And they've just got a brilliant ethos as well. So
that sounds like a really nice one to check out for anyway. So that's for drawing and painting, did you say?
Drawing and painting lessons from beginner to expert. I've seen some of the students that have done the final paintings and things, and they just look so good. So wow. There's a real difference from beginning to end.
So before we go, are there any particular kinds of businesses that you particularly love working on with your creative website creating and SEO work?
Yay! We love the tech entertainment industry. So anyone that is kind of like, it's art, it's creative, it's progressive, it's technology, it's kind of that amalgamation. There's theatre, there's lighting, there's sound, there's music, there's festivals, there's that kind of ball of amazing industry. Yeah, so that's the kind of thing that we love doing.
Excellent. So we can point some people your way if that's the kind of thing they do.
Thank you, Nina. That's so good. Really nice to speak to you today.
Thank you very much for coming and being a guest. Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Creative Conversations. I'm Nina Lenton. I'd love to know your thoughts on today's topic. You can contact me via my website at ninalenton.co.uk.